As many of you know, I told you over on Fox News how Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is a very kind-hearted soul. In my opinion, a very warm person. You can see that. I love the way she talks to people. She's got a very engaging smile. It's not fake. You do feel very much that she's in tune with you when you're talking with her. That's the reason why I think she's so connectable and will make a wonderful queen one day. Not too early though, right? Whatever. I'm quite happy with what we've got. And I know that Catherine, in fact, is just relishing the time that she has as a mum with 3 children. That's the deal. But of course, not all royal life goes to plan. And what's really interesting is, as I told you, Catherine has invited, the princesses Beatrice and Eugenie for her annual Christmas Carol concert. And it's very nice indeed. And what's interesting about that, when you think also, is the fact that, she can put that to one side, given the fact that clearly William is steaming with, of course, his uncle. And you can understand, Prince Andrew has made an absolute horlicks of his life, But as I've often said, we only know the one side of the story. And I'm not supporting, I'm saying this is the deal. Many people say, well, why doesn't he come back out and answer and go to Congress and all that sort of stuff? Well, what's interesting is, and this is where a lot of people don't understand, behind the scenes, this whole thing is crumbling. And it's crumbling between the 2 main players. That's right. The former royal known as the Duke of York, and of course the former royal known as the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, aka Fergie. As ever, let me explain. Hi morning chums, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out to join me today on a bit of a chilly day here in the very heart of the United Kingdom. Hope you're keeping well, whatever you're doing. And as ever, thank you for getting involved in all the videos. I do love your comments regarding black pudding. Yes, I know, but don't knock it till you've tasted it, chums, right? I mean, as I said, you can't think too deeply about what it is, but then you have to go, well, okay, it's not that bad. Lovely with brown sauce and a bit of hash brown. Yes, a nice fried egg. It's the delicacies that we have in certain areas of the other parts of the world. Share yours. What's your sort of thing that people might go, ooh, if they saw it. But when you taste it, you'd think, actually, it's really nice. Yes, I'm trying to go back to oxtail soup. I know it's stupid, but when I was growing up, we used to eat a lot, didn't we, when you were that sort of thing? And I never knew what it meant. And then when somebody said, oh, it's the, and I thought, oh, so I am going to see, so I've got the giggles now, I'm going to see if I can absolutely have a go at oxtail soup, but I'm not sure. I'd have to put the, oh yeah, it's the swinging tail, isn't it? Let's not go there. Let's get back to your royal story of the day. Now, behind the scenes, this was explosive, the whole story. The fact that they were stripped apart from their titles and all that sort of stuff. A terrible situation to be in, no two ways about it. But Andrew and, of course, Sarah are, well, they've been together a long time. Prince Philip was no fan of Sarah Ferguson, couldn't abide her, wouldn't be in the same room, felt that she was part of the problem of the monarchy. And when you look at Sarah Ferguson, her story, she has told and told and told and told and told her story time and time again. Over the weekend, the headlines are, and I told you this a couple of weeks back now, that Sarah would be circulated by certain individuals, particularly big broadcasters, particularly in the US. She feels her story will be better told in the US because over here in the United Kingdom, well, obviously there are limited areas that she can go with and there is more money attached. Now, when you think about this, a dangerous territory, because Sarah has done confessional after confessional. She always wants to get her narrative out there. We know her narrative. She's, clearly clueless with money, clueless at attaching herself to the wrong people, and it looks bad on every level. You can't keep making the same mistakes and be 60 odd and say, silly me, I didn't realise. You tried to sell access to your husband. That was exposed by the news of the world. That should have been the line. Incredible. When you think, of course, of the Duchess of Edinburgh, she had a slight faux pas, very similar, but, drew the line. Never again would she be caught out. Sarah Ferguson continually doing this. Now, behind the scenes, I can tell you that this is erupting. And this is because Andrew, Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now known, formerly Prince Andrew, yes. Well, I can tell you that behind the scenes, he is beyond fizzing. He believes that this is another huge mistake. But the problem is, you see, that Sarah Ferguson feels that she's got nothing to lose. You see, the royal family, in her opinion, have cut her off, and behind the scenes, they're not too keen on her even visiting Andrew when he finally relocates over to the depths of Norfolk in Sandringham. Now, don't feel too sorry for Andrew. You know, it's a very nice life. He's now moved out of royal life. He can fill his days whatever he wants to do, but everything will be checked. You know, who visits him, at what time, security will be around him so that he, hopefully, can't get himself into trouble. As I told you, Prince William felt that His Majesty the King should have nailed down Sarah Ferguson a lot harder because he saw her as the loose cannon. Hence the reason you could feel the frisson on the steps of Westminster Cathedral at the very final outing for, of course, the Duchess of Kent. And, I just felt so sorry that her story was marred with that, if you like. She deserved far much better, but there you go. That's royal life. Now, as I say, behind the scenes, what's really kicking off is Andrew thinks that Sarah should zip it, shut up, move on, and do not bring any more, well, into the family. Her argument is that, well, she's left stranded. She has recently sold a £4 million pad in, of course, Mayfair, the luxury part of Mayfair, at something of a loss, and apparently is looking to relocate. We're not quite sure where she's going to go with that money or those funds. Now, you see, this is from an excellent point and an excellent source. Sarah believes that if she'd sort of been allowed to continue with Prince Andrew, the former royal as Prince Andrew, right, perhaps with access to Sandringham, etc., well, that might have worked in her favour. But she really didn't want to be that far out of London for her social life and indeed for her children, so she says. So she wanted something of a bijou, if you like, grace and favour thing, possibly at Kensington Palace, maybe St James's Palace where the daughter lives. That wasn't forthcoming. And apparently, once that was told and that she would now have to go it alone, that's the reason what she's decided to pin this out there. The true story behind this headline is nothing's secure, nothing's nailed down at this stage. What she's hoping that will happen, and this is first and exclusive here on our channel, what she's hoping is that His Majesty the King will finally get the jitters and do, as I say, what he did for Angela Kelly, in the fact that perhaps he will now find her somewhere more convenient locally, you know, in the area that she fancies, where she might just shut up. But at this point, both William and His Majesty the King are virtually saying, it's your problem, Andrew. You started it, you deal with it. Andrew apparently is too angry to even go there, having seen those particular headlines. As ever, chums, it's a developing story. When I know more, you'll know more. Neil Shawn, Kensington, London.